Welcome to our Cartne video titled, How Do I Treat My Music Career Like a Business? Our guest today is Gilli Moon.
Well, I'm Gilli Moon. I'm an artist entrepreneur. I'm a creative entrepreneur. And I'm just an entrepreneur. And why do I call myself an entrepreneur? Because being an artist in this world takes more than just your talent or being an artist. You have to be a business person as well. And I've always run the gamut of being a left brain thinker and a right brain thinker and bringing your creativity and your business together. So I'm going to share a little bit about being the creative entrepreneur and what it means to be a creative entrepreneur, why it's important to take on that mentality, and how do you do it, and what will you get out of the end of it. So here goes. First, to be a creative entrepreneur, it is about being creative, so understanding and harnessing your creativity, that's important. And also thinking about how you're going to let other people know about your creativity. You need to be an outside the box thinker and a business person. That's why being an entrepreneur is important in this music industry. Today, yesterday, and in the future. I have 8 albums out as an artist. I also run a business. In fact, I have several businesses. Why? Because being an artist, I'm a creative person. And so therefore, from a business point of view, I am a creative person as well. And I'm always thinking about how to get our creativity out. I create several platforms for other artists to help them get their artistry and creativity out there. But I don't want to have to be that person for them, because you need to be that person for yourself. You need to think about not waiting around for someone else to come along and take your artistry and get it out there. You actually need to step outside of your own zone and think of ideas on how you can get out there as well. And what does that mean? So let's talk about this mentality a little bit more. It means when you're thinking about your day, and we'll put aside whether you have a day job or a side hustle or financial means by which to gain the greater goal kind of thing. But on an artistic side of point of view, you might be playing your guitar, you might be writing songs, you might be singing a song, like being creative, and that's all you want to do. But the mentality of your day should also be about what other things will you do, or what things will you do to get your music out there. And that means being a business person. So is that your marketing, your promotion? Is that who you're going to meet, networking, who you're going to call, email, all of that, send a carrier pigeon, whatever you need to do. Entrepreneurship as a mentality is about going outside of your normal mode of operandi and coming up with new ideas to achieve your goal. And that's the other part of it, is to achieve a goal. So being an entrepreneur, if you are a startup entrepreneur, which I also work a lot with, you might be thinking about a new idea that you want to launch, right? And that may turn into a product or a business. Same with music. Music is a product. You are the product. You have something to offer other people. So being that artist or creative entrepreneur, you are not only creating the product, you are also getting it out there. You are starting it up. You are building a business around what you love to do. And I'm very much about following your passions. So when you follow your passions and then you have a business mindset about it, a little bit of hard work as well, you will find that you'll get a lot of success. So let's talk about what does it take to get out, to be that creative entrepreneur. I already mentioned a little bit about your day-to-day. So that's like being organized, right? I have this saying, the 3 O's. Optimism, which is that positivity, plus organized equals opportunity. So that's the essence of that mindset. And in your day, thinking about scheduling how you're going to run your day to do a little bit of both. The second piece of being an entrepreneur and how you become that is your branding. So thinking about how you're coming across to others. No one is going to know your music if you're just playing it inside your house. You have to think about, how are people perceiving you? How are people finding you? Is that your website? Is that your approach to newsletters or reaching out? Is that your social media profiles? Is that, do you have the business card? Do you use flyers? Now that we're not handing out CDs anymore, and we are more so trying to get people to go and listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, etc. How are you going to get people to come there, to come to those? And so that's being a little tech savvy and promotion savvy, using your social network skills, using your tech skills, maybe with a website that goes to a QR code that goes to your Spotify. Or if you're handshaking someone at a networking event, how are they going to know about you? If you just say, oh, just go find me on Spotify, that's not going to, there's so many artists on Spotify. So you got to think about, how do you cut through the noise and brand yourself so people know that you are available. And that's the second point of how you become the creative entrepreneur is understanding your competitive advantage. Your competitive advantage is your uniqueness. That's going back to your creativity. That means you are super talented. You need to be really good at what you do, and you need to be making rock solid music or creativity. That's got to be first. So your talent plus your uniqueness is your competitive advantage. There's another ism of Gilli. So what is that? What is that competitive advantage for you? Think about it. Okay, I'm talented. I play great piano and I sing. That's not talent. That's not enough. What makes me unique amongst everyone else, right? When I first came to America 23 years ago from Australia, weirdly, my uniqueness was my accent, my Australian accent. I could pick up the phone with any A&R rep in the country, and they go, "Oh, I like your accent." Well, now there's so many Australians, it doesn't matter. My Australian accent is not so strong anymore. But that's what you've got to think about. Like, what is it? Is it that you do some kind of ska music that's really interesting with really interesting lyrics? Is it that like my husband, Jay Walker, who's a hip hop artist, he does therapeutic hip hop. He's there to heal you while he does his hip hop. These are the things and ideas that you've got to think about. What's unique about you? All right. So what are you going to gain from all of this if you become the creative entrepreneur? There are a couple of things. One, people are going to start hearing what you do more, learning about your music or creativity more, wanting to get to know you more. Two, you may need to rely less on others for your success. You will come to realize that you actually have more skill set for you to actually do things yourself. Entrepreneurial skill sets that you may not have thought about before. This music business now is about how you can be more entrepreneurial. You don't need to wait for the record companies. There's so many great artists that are self-run labels, or they have partnerships but on their own terms, like myself. So that's the thing that you need to think about. Thirdly, money. Let's think about. Let's just call it what it is. When you start to give away the rights of your music or all of your rights to these big companies, you're going to get a teeny tiny sliver. If you can start to think about how you are owning your money making, your revenue making systems, when you can start selling direct to your customers, when you can start building your business and owning more of the lion's share, you get more of the lion's share of the money. Now, it may not feel like it's millions of dollars like you read in the papers and you think, oh, that's what I'm going to make. No, but it's a substantial living and you could make millions. There is a lot of money in the music business. So entrepreneurial spirit means that you're tapping into the money as well, the revenue side, and understanding that, and understanding contracts, how you can kind of bend it more to your favor and not to someone else's favor. These are just some tips. Ultimately, just the bottom line is being a creative entrepreneur means you are in charge of your own destiny. You are calling the shots and you're holding the strings. You're the puppeteer in your own career. So good luck with that.
Wow, that's incredible advice, Gilli. So, how does a creative not get overwhelmed by all the things that you've talked about?
You know, running your own business, which I've been doing for decades, is overwhelming. You have to know and want it so bad that you will put all of your time and effort into it. If it is not your passion, you should not be doing it. It is only for those who can put in the work. We need passion and we need grit. And for those who aren't willing to step up and really stand behind your artistry or creativity in that way, will be left behind. That being said, we don't all want to burn out doing this. So we want to think about more of a balance in how to make that happen. As they say, you cannot build Rome in a day. You have to take it step by step. Interestingly, that is one of the things that I have focused on for at least a decade in coaching artists one-on-one and running workshops for artists. It all comes down to that balance. How do I find the time and not get overwhelmed? And some of the tips that I will say is this. First, know what your goals are. What are you trying to achieve? You're not going to get the big Grammy all in one day. You're not going to build this entire amazing entrepreneurial business all in one day. So you need actionable steps. So I always ask my artists to break it down. Okay, there's the lifetime dreams, really good. Put it on the wall, put it in a drawer, whatever it is, wonderful. But let's think about our action plan. So building a game plan that we can tangibly achieve. So for example, let's say want to have everyone in the world listen to my album. Great. Okay, so what are some of those action steps? Well, we need to record the album. Okay, and then I want to promote it. Yeah, hold your horses. We'll record the album first, which is what good record companies do anyway. They don't ask the artist to be touring and promoting the album and doing all this marketing until the actual album is recorded. So you spend the first goal really getting the music right, as an example. The second is, okay, now we're going to take it to market, and you then, okay, by in the next 3 months, I want to be able to achieve 3 radio stations or get onto the top 5, playlists on Spotify, tour 3 towns, like be very specific and not overwhelming goals is what I'm suggesting. The other piece of it is just the day to day, and I mentioned this at the beginning about the day to day, like your mindset. So I literally I religiously depend on my schedule, my calendar. I have a Google Calendar, and I know I block out my meetings, and then I block out time to focus on piano playing, writing, co-writing. Then I block out time for making calls, sending emails, doing business. And that should become a recurring habit. And that way, many artists I know have got that day job that they have to balance with, right? Totally understandable. So you feel like, oh, I just have no time. And so I work a lot on time management with my artists. Like, well, what time do you actually have? Well, I have this hour, but, I'm so tired. I want to just watch television. Okay, if you didn't watch television, as an example, how could you do that more creatively? Like, could you spend maybe half of that time writing an email? And so you get to like understanding your time. I think that the key is just finally is to really realign with your values. Like, if it is important to you, think about the things that aren't important to you and maybe consider discarding them for now so that you don't feel overwhelmed. One of the biggest problems that we have is we don't know what the steps are. We think we get overwhelmed just by the fear of the steps, right? Or to what am I supposed to do? So if you break it down to small pieces and you start networking and asking questions of people around you, the road becomes more and more clear.
That concludes our video titled, How Do I Treat My Music Career Like a Business? We want to thank our guest, Gilli Moon, for sharing her experience and expertise with us.